my pleasure to introduce Reverend Raymont Anderson. I'm sorry, my voice is weak at the moment, and so I'm just going to let him take the stage.
Come on. So, for those of you who do not know, today we're going to also open up for a Q&A. So, because we're going to open up for Q&A, I'm going to start off with my own question for all of you. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes. Yes.
Are you sure you're ready?
Yes.
So question. Have you ever felt, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, because sometimes, we feel a little shy and quiet. Have you ever felt, or do you know of someone who has ever felt empty?
Yes. Yes.
Good. It's actually good that we occasionally feel empty. Now, oftentimes, especially around the holidays, that's the last thing that anyone wants to feel. It's the last thing that anyone wants to have in their experience. But there's this wise guy not like wise guy, but wise guy, named Lao Tzu. Anybody familiar with him? Yes. Okay, so Lao Tzu wrote this amazing book called the Tao Te Ching. And one of the chapters, chapter 11, says something referencing, it is the empty space in the four walls that makes the room useful. When one takes clay and forms a vessel, it is the empty space in the vessel that makes it useful. When you have a wheel and there is a hub and there are spokes, it is the hole in the wheel that makes the spokes able to connect. When we feel empty, it is our reminder that there is the possibility to be refilled, to be made full again. Now, has anyone in here ever eaten once and only once and never eaten again? No. Yes, I'm sure you have. We all eat. And at some point, the body does what the body does, and we get empty. And we know that we can refill. We renew ourselves. We eat again. And the thing is, this time of year is our reminder that we had from January 1st all the way up to December, I'm going to say 23rd, where life has done what life occasionally does. And we suffer and go through the darkness. And then, think about it. Why is this specific time of year? Why are there so many celebrations and festivals of light? To remind us. Yeah, you may have forgotten all of this time. And yes, we are at that time of year when the nights are longer and there's a lot of darkness. But remember that if you were to look up into the sky and it was completely lit, you'd never see a star. You need the darkness to see the stars. So remember this time. Remember who and what you are. Remember that it's not just about, commemorating the lights. It's not just about decorating the tree, but it's about recognizing and seeing ourselves in the tree, in the menorah, in the very light, which is a reflection of us. We are reflecting the one, the divine spirit. And everywhere we go, why do we say, I've said this many times, why do we say namaste? It's the recognition that I don't just see you, but there is something that is behind these eyes that sees itself reflected back at itself. So this is an amazing time of year that, yes, give gifts, but the greatest gift we can give is the gift of ourselves. And a lot of times, we don't want to acknowledge that. We're like, we think of ourselves as that old sweater that has worn out elbows, that, it keeps me warm, but it's not my Christmas best. Because when I give a gift, I want to give a gift that's really going to make somebody like, oh, you gave this to me? Like, I want it to move somebody. And when I think of giving myself, and it's like the little drummer boy. Yeah, everybody, they're bringing frankincense. You know how much that stuff costs? They're bringing gold. Oh, my goodness. And what's myrrh? I don't even know what that is, but they're bringing it, and it's got a beautiful bow on it. Wow. And I don't I mean, that's the whole point, is that was what the little drummer boy had to give. And he gave his all. So in every moment, what are we giving? In every moment, whenever we meet someone, whenever we're shopping, whenever we're going about, because we get lost in the Christmas machine this time of year. And we lose sight of what this whole Christmas thing means. Because it becomes about plugging in, turning on, and doing the Christmas shopping dance. It's like we become the Energizer Bunny of Christmas shopping, holiday shopping. And we forget that that's a tiny, minor piece. That is a tiny, minor piece to the entire spectrum of what this holiday season represents and means. Yes, give gifts if that's where your heart is in. But once again, the greatest gift we can give is ourselves. Do we look into one another's eyes? Do we look into our own eyes? Christmas morning, Monday morning, Wednesday morning, and see the love of Source shining back at us. It's really difficult, it's very challenging to really give of yourself when you don't give yourself to yourself. You know, how many times do we say, New Year's, I'm going to do better. Resolution number 1, I'm going to take better care of myself. I'm going to take better care of my health. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to do stuff that, I'm going to put my new sexy on. Like we talk about all this stuff that we're going, don't laugh at me. We talk about all this stuff that we're going to do come the new year to take care of ourselves. And then somewhere around March, next year, today is the perfect day to not set a resolution, not set the intention to know. Because when we truly know who and what we are, everything else falls into place. There's nothing you need to do. Once again, let me show of hands, how many parents in the room? Okay, how many are siblings? You are the brother of or sister to someone. How many, you're someone's child? Yeah, I was going to say, if I don't see a hand, we need to talk after service. Now, we have all of these labels. Brother, father, grandfather, teacher, musician. Like, we have all of these titles that come onto us, right? But how often do you really go out, set your day, and say, okay, so I'm going out, and I have to be mother, teacher, father, musician, singer, shopper, teacher, and you keep all of it rolling around in the hamster wheel of your mind to always be present that all 30 of these things that you are have to be right here in the forefront of your mind every single time. You don't. Because if you did, you would lose your mind. The moment, and I dare you to try it, but I promise you that that's where you're going to end up. Because you can't do it. It's not meant to be done. So what do? Is you go throughout the day simply being you. And that means in the moment that mom needs to show up with mom voice kicks in. Mom voice doesn't kick in while mom is at Target and says, excuse me, young lady, could you, young lady, what aisle? Mom voice doesn't kick in necessarily there. But when, mom, I spilled, young man, it kicks in. The choir director voice doesn't kick in while walking through Giant saying, broccoli and lettuce, frozen foods and cabbage. Doesn't kick in there. But it kicks in when it's appropriate for it to kick in. So the important thing for us to remember is, who am I? Plain and simply, you are love. Plain and simply, you are light. Whatever word you want to call it. How did we open up? By whatever name, whether it's the name of Yeshua or Buddha or Krishna, Muhammad, Allah, whatever the name is. Like Shakespeare said, rose by any other name. the name doesn't change the beauty of it. No matter what you try to lump onto yourself to hide the light, it can't be done. When the planet shifts and the sun is over here, one side of the planet is in darkness. The other side is getting the light. But does that mean this is no longer in existence for those on this side? No. Someone once said that all of the darkness in all of creation could come down right now and go after one of those candles. And it can't touch it. One candle immediately must make darkness recede. So the moment we step in and say, I know what I am. I know who I am. And to the best of my ability, that's where I'm moving from. Everything else falls into place. Does that mean we're never going to have sadness? No. It's part of the journey. Does it ever mean we're going to never feel empty? No, it's part of the journey. The difference is when we know we're existing and living from that place. Let's go 3 steps back. Suppose you have no idea what any of this joy and majesty and magnificence that we are. You have no idea what that is, right? So when you hit rock bottom is all the way to the floor. Like life knocks you down and boom, you're on the mat, right? But then you start to learn, wait a minute, and you start to elevate. So now you're here, and then something happens in life, boom! Now that's where you fall. Because you know what you are. And once you know what you are, this essence, this beingness says you don't have to go all the way down there anymore. And then you still grow and you grow. And now you're here. And then life, boom! And that's where you go. You still go down because there are degrees. But your down is never as far down as it once was. It's like I used to tell people, you have this, people talk about this, the spectrum of, and you have the pivot point right here, and you swing the pendulum, and the pendulum can go to amazing love and to great despair. And that's part of life. But if you move the pivot point here, the pendulum still swings. But it no longer swings all the way down to a -10. Now, my deepest, darkest despair is now a -5. A -2. A 1. Oh. Like my greatest, bliss is so high that when I'm sad, it's a 1. It's no longer negative numbers. Like, Ray, how are you today? I'm sad. Why are you sad? Well, one of my older brothers died recently. Why are you smiling? Oh, it's an interesting question. Why am I smiling? 1, because I no longer believe in death. Those were the negative numbers. 2, I know he's not gone. He's not lost. Oh, pivot point move, pivot point move, pivot point move. Because the further we move there, that's when we're living in that thing called Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, whatever it is we want to call it. That's when. And that's our ultimate goal. Being open at the top really means stepping into and living from that space as often as possible. So, if you have questions, I had to put that in there because a long time ago, people gather around and tell ghost stories. All these ghost stories during Christmas. So I have to put the little maniacal laugh in there just for, entertainment purposes. So back to our regularly scheduled program. Any questions? And you can ask whatever you want to ask. I will do the best of my ability to answer whatever it is you are asking me to the best of my ability. And you can ask whatever. You can ask me something personal if you want to ask me. Yes, ma'am.
How do you pray?
How do you, just in general, or me specifically?
You.
How do I pray? Okay, so, not sure how to answer the question. So,
What do you do when you pray?
okay, so to the best of my ability, I start my day off with journaling, right? It depends on what's going on and if the alarm clock wakes me up or not, because sometimes the alarm clock will go off and I'm off and running, and then it's like, oh, breathe, pause, slow down, now go back and journal. So sometimes I have to get back on track. But then I'll do a treatment for whatever I want to have. It's sort of like a visioning thing. What will this day unfold for me? What am I being called to do in this day? Then, if there's some specific thing I want to treat about, then I'll put that out there. Like, just as an example, I'm taking the test for the CSL affiliate minister thing the last Tuesday of January. Suppose that was today. Then I would specifically treat for that, for the wisdom, the knowledge, the patience, the ease and flow while I'm taking this. So I would, for something specific. Then, because I know that my words have power and I know that my thoughts affect the words, I do my best to walk in a prayerful manner. So that literally what I do, what I become, becomes part of my prayer. So that if someone were to look at my life and say, based upon what Ray reads, where he goes, what he does, this is what he's praying for. So if I were doing what some of my family have done in the past, and I'm at the bar and I'm doing this and I'm drinking and doing drugs and I'm whatever, then what are you praying for? You're praying for pain and misery and suffering. Technically, that's what you're praying for. If everything that comes out of my mouth is blah, 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 and blah, 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 that's where you put the ampersand and the exclamation point and the stuff. Blah, 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 beep, 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 beep. What are you praying for? More pain, more anger, more hostility, more of that. That's what you're praying for. You're not on your hands and knees doing it, but you are putting it out into the world. So, journal, visioning, treatment, and then some kind of meditative, contemplative, mindful living to the best of my ability. Yes, ma'am.
Reverend Ray, I want to testify about something that you said. Your description of being on the hamster wheel the last couple of days, that was me. Gotta get the dinner ready, gotta set up this room for the day. And I got a phone call from a friend who's about to move away and is kind of distraught in the pain of leaving and the joy of going. And she asked if I could have coffee with her, and I said, I can't, I gotta get it at night. And I stopped myself. Jerry, why are you doing all these preparations? So I said, yes, I'm joining for a cup of coffee. And that hour was so sweet. It was sweet. Both of us left deeply enriched, and the whole rest of my weekend was just, oh yeah, now I remember to enjoy the people that I'm doing these things for.
Yep.
So thank you for the reminder of the information.
You are very welcome. And ultimately that's the whole purpose of whatever the holiday/holy day is. And when we really understand what it means for you to be hallowed ground, literally you are a sacred and blessed temple, knowing that one, God is all there is. So the ground upon which we walk is already sacred. But why do we bless a space? Because technically we are acknowledging, I understand that this space is sacred, and I'm adding to the majesty of that. Because as it says in our We believe that heaven is within, and we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. So to the degree that you become conscious of your divinity, you experience it. If you know that you are it, you know that you are divine, then you know that everywhere you walk, you make it hallowed ground. You know that, and I say this many times, I say that you know and realize that every person you see, and everyone who sees you, is seeing the face of God. Everyone that you touch, and everyone who touches you, is touching the body or the hand of God. And everyone that you hear and everyone who hears you is hearing the voice of God. When you know. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I doubt that I need that. Can you hear me?
It's for the recording.
Yeah, okay. I have to remember not to shout. Assuming, and I don't know, you have some background and study in Christianity. And I just, out of curiosity, what is your favorite Old Testament and New Testament text?
Good question. Let's see, Old Testament. In the beginning was the Word was God, the Word was with God. Or, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. One of those two. New Testament. Physician, heal thyself. Love is patient, kind. For these are the fruits of the Spirit, and most of all, love. Fellowship, oneness, togetherness. Those would probably be somewhere in there. Don't ask me such hard questions. No. That was a good question, though. Thank you. Question? Okay, I just wasn't sure. So let me okay, go ahead.
I don't have a question. Is this what?
I don't have a question,
Okay.
but you do remind me that our word is our power, and our power is our word. And therefore, I want to congratulate you on passing that exam with flying colors.
Thank you. So I want to piggyback off of that for a second. So, you know, the nerd in me, I'm always doing something. I'm always writing something or doing something. So recently, I've been playing with, anybody in here know what cymatics is? No? Okay, so don't worry about it because I just found out what it was technically and I'm a nerd. So cymatics is this study of how sound affects matter. And several musicians have been doing things like where they'll put a metal plate and they'll put salt crystals or sand on it, and then they'll play a note and they'll watch how the crystals move and change based upon the note, right? And they've been tweaking with other things like water and oil and stuff to show that sound vibration changes matter. And now this made me, when I started watching some videos and reading stuff, because I'm actually writing a book about Christ consciousness, which is where that stuff came from. And I had this thing. Anybody remember the book Dune by Frank Herbert or the movie Dune? Yeah. So there's this part where Paul Atreides or Paul Muad'Dib or the Kwisatz Haderach, where he's teaching the Fremen how to do the weirding way. And I know I'm getting nerd, like, I know I'm throwing words out there. You're like, what? The weirding who and the Fremen what? Just follow me. And it's a method of battle where they speak their voice and it causes things to happen. And there's this one scene in the movie where Paul is teaching the Fremen and he says, the weirding way, we believe that thoughts have form. And by speaking that word, we give form in this realm through our word, right? So then that made me start thinking about Dr. Emoto and the whole water thing and how what we think or project into this water changes the crystals, and then the rice experiment where people have done the same thing with rice and shown how it gets moldy or whatever. And it really made me start thinking about we talk to ourselves more than we talk to anybody else. So no matter if I go up to someone and say, you know, I really don't like what you did to me last week, and yeah. Yes, it's coming through me. But it's me first. I can curse somebody else, but it's coming through me first. Every thought that I think about somebody else or something else has to affect me first. So every angry thought I have towards a family member, every angry thought I have towards a situation. The basement in the house flooded 2 days, yesterday morning. And I was peeved, to say the least. Mostly because several of my books got damaged. Books. They're my books and they're, ah! It took me an entire day to say, look, man, breathe. Just breathe. Because all of the stuff that comes through us, if I'm going to poison someone else, then the poison comes through me first. Why would I want to do that? So I reiterate, every time we have an angry thought, and it has to be prolonged. Don't get, but I had an angry thought. Yeah, I'm talking prolonged. The more you hold on to it. It's like there's a hot stove, and if I put my hand on the hot stove, like that's normally what we do, right? You smell bacon? I smell something. That's me. My hand's on fire. Terry, could you get the fire extinguisher? Oh, wow, never mind. The hand just burned off. Never mind. The longer we hold on to it, the more damage we do. So the ultimate goal is to say, who do I want to be? Do I want to be the person who is burning himself through hatred, animosity, pain, suffering? Or do I want to be the person who feels it and lets it flow? Knowing that it's a part of life to feel angry, but I will no longer be angry. I will feel it. It's an emotion. I will let the energy and motion flow. Someone says something to me that I don't like. Someone elects someone that I don't like. Someone does whatever it is that I don't like. I breathe. Knowing that it's not just me breathing, but it is the entirety of the universe and all of creation breathing me, because it and I are one. This is my choice to live in this life of being a hoarder. The life of having this empty life, and I have to put boxes of, there's hatred and newspapers of gossip and animosity, until it gets to the point where I have a difficult time maneuvering through my own life because I've got all of this stuff blocking my way. That's a choice. This is just living who and what you are. One last question, if there is one, then I think it's time. Yes, ma'am.
Again, I don't have a question, but what you just described with the hoarding of all the negativity, we are going to have a wonderful service on Thursday night, called the Burning Bowl ceremony, where everyone has the opportunity to release all of that which is holding us back. And so it just seemed like the perfect time to segue. And just
Yes,
announce
I
it.
agree, yes. And take advantage of that. Like really, because we do a lot of rituals and ceremonies, and we do them, and we don't really do them. Like we do them on the surface. Like for example, I would like to rewind a moment and say, just to tweak a little bit of something that you said at the beginning, that it's a small holiday in comparison to. There is no, in the grandness of the universe, like how many times do we say, it is no different for God, for the universe, to manifest $1 million than it is for a button. It's all the same thing. So this is as magnificent and as beautiful as Christmas, as Kwanzaa, as Ramadan, as because this reminds you of how beautiful you are. And that can't be small. It can't be trivial simply because of that. So take the Burning Bowl opportunity as an opportunity to say, no, for real, I've been carrying this since I was 5. I've been carrying this since last Monday, and I know I really don't want to let it go, but it's not healthy for me. Because I already feel that it's doing this slowly but surely. And if I hold on to it for too long, write it down, set it on fire, let it go, and know that in 2017, January 1st, it's a new you. January 2nd, 2017, it's a new you. The 3rd, the 4th, every single day, each of us, because we are the creation of all that is, we have the opportunity to recreate, renew, reflect, and remember the truth of who and what we are. Namaste.
No.